श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। सुखं नित्यं स्वप्रकाशं व्यापकं नामरूपयोः अधिष्ठानं बुद्ध्यबोध्यं बुद्धेर्दृग्यत्तु निर्मलम् अपारं सर्ववेदान्त वेद्यं प्रत्यक्परं महः तदेवाहं न मत्तोऽन्यत इति मे निश्चिता मतिः। Let's start with the third chapter of Vicharasagara. So in first chapter and second chapter thoroughly we have analyzed Anubandha Chatushtaya. What is Anubandha Chatushtaya? Anubandha Chatushtaya is Adhikari, Vishaya, Sambandha and Prayojana. Who is an Adhikari for Vedanta? The Sambandha, Vishaya, the topic of this text, Prayojana, the purpose, and Sambandha, the relation between the text and the topic. So, Adhikari, Vishaya, Sambandha, Prayojana is Anubandha Chatushtaya. And on this Anubandha Chatushtaya, the questions were raised. Is this Anubandha Chatushtaya appropriate or not? And should the composition of this text be continued or not? Because we are going in succession, in progress from the beginning. Will this text be eligible for delivering what it is, what it has assured us, what it has promised us? Will this text be means by which I can gain moksha? And what is moksha? Moksha is Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti Parvananda Prapti. That was established. So the questions were raised and they were answered, and it was established by thorough examination that yes, this text will give Brahmajnana to a mumukshu based on these conditions. And Vedanta, the topic that Brahmajnana Aikya is possible, Ajnana is superimposition, and because it is superimposition, it can be removed by knowledge alone and not by any karma. Even otherwise, no karma can lead to moksha. After having analyzed all these topics, in third chapter, in a very small succinct chapter, author explains the nature of Shishya and Guru. Who is a Guru and who is a Shishya? The ideal conditions, the ideal Guru and ideal Shishya. Why ideal? Because when all these conditions are fulfilled, then alone the purpose will fit into the desired category, or the topic will be eligible. What are you trying to say? What is the meaning of this? It is simple. Let's take a colloquial or transactional example. The example that which we are familiar with. Let's say a person has defect in his eyes. He has some disease related to his eyes. Now, to whom should that person approach? He should refer to an eye doctor or general physician, who will refer him to an eye doctor, ENT specialist, etc. Now, if this person goes to a surgeon or neurologist, will it be helpful? No. Why? Because his purpose should match with the person or the means or the place where he is going. And other ways, and opposite. If a person with heart disease approaches an ENT, eye doctor, is that going to be helpful? No. Why? Because they don't match. So, to whom are we approaching and what is desired by us should match. In the same way, the guru should be qualified, at the same time Shishya should be qualified. Then alone, by both of them coming together, the desired result which is expected by Vedanta, Shastra, Shruti will be achieved. With this idea, let's begin with the topic. Again, because this chapter is very small, I'm going to avoid unnecessary detail, and in today itself we will complete this whole chapter. Now author first refers to the Pratijna, what he said in the beginning of this text. He says Grantharambha Pratijna. Yastu Anubandha Chatuштयं सम्यक् विज्ञाय वेदांत विज्ञान सुनिश्चितार्थं स्थितप्रज्ञं वरिष्ठं श्रोत्रियं सद्गुरुमासाद्य तत्प्रसादात् वेदांत ग्रंथं पठति शृणोति च अत्यादरेण श्रद्धया भक्त्या च स एव मोक्ष साधनं ज्ञानमाप्नोति. गुरुशिष्य संवाद रूपेणार्थ निरूपणे कृते श्रोतॄणां सुखावबोधो भवेत् इति गुरुशिष्य प्रश्न प्रतिवचन रूपेण ग्रंथ आरभ्यते. Now this text, the core topic, the topic as such is now started. This topic is started in the form of a dialogue. The dialogue between whom? A guru and a shishya. What kind of guru? What kind of shishya? A shishya who has approached a guru who is Sitaprajnam Varishtham Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartham. The one who is well established in the Tatparya, the final message, the crux, the Tatparya of Vedanta. The one who has well understood, the one who has assimilated in himself, and the one who has got aparoksha brahmajnana. Such a guru, to that guru a shishya has approached. What kind of shishya? The one who has understood Anubandha Chatushtaya. What is Anubandha Chatushtaya? Having known that, and then after having approached such a guru, the one who learns from him and learns how Shraddhaya Bhaktya cha, with diligence, with reverence, etc. And by that he gains means of for moksha, that is Brahmajnana. Brahmajnana by which he is going to gain moksha. Now this whole thing is being explained further in detail. Who is a guru? Yaha Sanga Vedadhyayi Tadarthajnaha जीव ब्रह्मैक्य विषयक दृढ़तर निश्चयात् परिनिष्ठितात्म साक्षात्कारवान स एव गुरुः नहि वेदाध्ययन वत्वमात्रेण आत्मज्ञान शून्यः गुरुः भवति. Simple. Who is a guru? Guru is that who is Shrotriya Brahmanishtha. What do you mean by Shrotriya and Brahmanishtha has been explained here. Sanga Vedadhyayi, Sanga with all its angas. the Shadanga, Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarna, Niruktam, Chando, Jyotisham. All these 6 Angas. Along with these Angas, the one who has studied Veda and the one who knows the meaning, the message, the final message of Veda, which is Jiva Brahmaikya, oneness between Jiva and Brahma, and having established in that final message, the one who has gained Atma Sakshatkara, such Atma Sakshatkaravan Brahmanistha Guru is a Guru. Here, author has made 3 distinctions between a Guru. Simple. All those who have studied Vedanta cannot be Guru. And all those who are Brahmanistha also cannot be Guru. Understand it in this way. The ideal Guru should be Shrotriya and Brahmanistha. Shrotriya, the one who has studied Vedanta in a parampara, in a lineage, Guru Shishya. From his Guru he has studied and he is teaching to his Shishyas. His Guru studied from his Guru, the lineage. In that continuous lineage, the one who has studied. Such a Guru is Shrotriya. And what has he studied? Vedanta, Upanishads, etc. He is Shrotriya. And not just he has listened to them, he is also well established. He is a Sthita Prajna, Brahmanistha. He does not think of anything else other than Veda, other than Brahman. Such a Guru, such a person is a Brahmanistha. Now we have 2 other options. A person can be only Shrotriya and only Brahmanistha. What about them? We don't consider them to be Guru ideally. You should approach them, but they are not going to be helpful for a Shishya as much as Shrotriya Brahmanistha Guru will be helpful. What is the distinction? Why is it so? Simple. A Shrotriya Brahmanistha Guru is, he himself is well established, so he is convinced about what he knows and he knows how topic should be taught. On the contrary, a Brahmanistha Guru, he is well established in Brahman, but because he is not studied in that lineage, he does not know the prakriya, the process in which topic should be taught. He may explain, he may go on explaining whatever that he has experienced, but rather than creating knowledge or giving knowledge, that may possibly create confusion in the mind of a Shishya. Furthermore, such a person, a Brahmanistha Guru, cannot remove 5 Samshaya. 5 Samshaya in the mind of a Shishya. A Shrotriya, you can approach him, you can learn from him, but that is not going to be as much helpful as learning from a Shrotriya Brahmanistha Guru is helpful. Here author has set limits up to very high standards. Why? Because unless that way they have been established, nobody will strive for that. Simple. So, as much as possible, try to approach a Guru who is Shrotriya and Brahmanistha. If not possible, then approach a guru who is Shrotriya and certainly approach the one who is Brahmanistha. Why? Because their Ashirvada are very much helpful in our sadhana, in our progress. This whole thing, why should we approach Shrotriya Brahmanistha? Let me refer to Kathopanishad Bhashya. In Kathopanishad Bhashya, there is one verse. Nanarena varena prokta eshaha suvidnyeyo bahudha chintyamanaha ananya prokte gatiratra nasti aniyanyatarkya manu pramanat. The third line is very much important. Ananya prokte gatiratra nasti. Ananya prokte, prokte, vadite, prokte, kathite. When he tells, when he explains, who Ananya. Let's keep that word Ananya as it is. Gatiratra nasti. What is the meaning? 4 meanings have been given by Bhashyakar. What are they? He says, Ananya prokte gatiratra nasti. Who is Ananya? Ananya refers to the one who is Shrotriya and Brahmanistha. Such a guru, when he prokte, when he explains, when Shrotriya Brahmanistha guru tells to a Shishya who is qualified, gatiratra nasti, then no doubt is left behind. There is no vikalpa. There is no doubt. He certainly will know. When Ananya Guru explains it to a qualified Shishya, no doubt is left behind. He will gain that knowledge. In second meaning, Bhashyakara has explained Ananya Prokte. Here he refers to Ananya as Atma, Atma Swarupa. When that Atma is explained by a Guru, what is the nature of that Atma? Gati atra nasti. Gati refers to knowledge. Nothing that is to be known is left behind. So once you have known Atma, na anyat jnatavyam avashishyate. Whatever that can be known is nothing that can be known is left behind. How do you say so? Simple. When you know Atma, there is nothing else that is to be known. Because you become that Atma. You become that Brahman. In third meaning, he says, or when that Atma is explained by such a Guru, Gati, Samsara Gati, rebirth, Atra Nasti, is not there. And in fourth meaning, Ananya Prokte Gati, he refers to Sandhi, Purva Rupa Sandhi, and he splits that at Ananya Prokte Agatiratra Nasti. Rather than taking Gati, he refers to Agatiratra Nasti. And if you take that, then Agatihi Anavabodha Aparijnanam. Then it is not possible that you will not know Atma. It is not possible that you will not know Atma, double negative, that means you certainly will know Atma. Therefore, you should approach a Guru who is Shrotriya and Brahmanistha. Why? Because na narena varena proktahesha. Avarena narena. Avarena, the one who is hina buddhi, aviveki, a very common man. By that person this cannot be known. This Brahman shall be known only by a qualified student when ananya prokte sati, when it is told by Shrotriya Brahmanistha. This is the best ideal condition. Guru says, utters those words, and Shishya within moments he knows. But we will have to adjust this for our own sake, and we will have to bring down the level. So for us now, because our main problem is, it is difficult for us to identify Shrotriya Brahmanistha Guru. So let's go with only Shrotriya Brahmanisthatva. Keep that Brahmanisthatva to Ishvara and pray to him. Pray to Ishvara that let in my this life itself may I be approached, or I may approach a Guru who is also Brahmanistha. Till then, whatever that you have learned from person who is Shrotriya, dwell upon it, go on practicing, go on continuing with your own sadhana. So, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. Now, why stress upon Shrotriya? Because there are these 5 defects which everybody deals with. 5 defects as in Pancha Bheda, 5 idea of difference. How it can see, this is the problem with English. You have to add many subclauses. The idea of 5 differences. Panchavidha Bheda. What are the idea of 5 differences? The 5 differences being difference between Jiva and Ishvara. Usually, whenever we are talking about Vedanta, whenever we are dealing in any darshana, we are referring to 3 things: Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. Ishvara being one, there is no Bheda between Ishvara and Ishvara. Now, make permutation combinations between 2. Jiva Ishvara Bheda, Jiva Jagat Bheda, Jiva Jiva Bheda, Jagat Ishvara Bheda, and Jagat Jagat Bheda. These are the 5 idea of 5 differences. All they are different from each other. These can be removed by only that person who is Shrotriya, because he knows the yukti, the logic, the way in which these defects can be removed. How can they be removed? Simple. How can you remove Jiva Ishvara Bheda? What is the logic behind that? Ghata Akasha, Mahakasha. Ghata Akasha, the pot space and total space. They are not different at all. Their differences are on account of Upadhi, the conditioning. Otherwise, space is space alone. Same way, Jiva is nothing but Brahman. Their differences are due to Upadhi, which is Avidya or Maya. Then, how can you say Jiva are not different from each other? Simple. Now, rather than keeping one pot, keep many pots. As space enclosed by different pots is not different, the difference, apparent difference, is on account of those pots. In the same way, the differences between jivas is apparent. It's not really not there. That way, jiva jiva bheda is removed. Just as two pot spaces are not different. Similarly, two jivas are not different at all. Then jiva jada bheda. Jada, jagat. Jiva, difference between jiva and jagat. साभास अंतःकरण निराभास नाम रूपम अयोधिजनितत्वात् कल्पितम. One is sabhasa antahkarana. The actually jiva, who is a jiva we had seen? The one who has antahkarana as its visheshana, not its upadhi. The upadhi one is sakshi. Keeping that aside, there is Chaitanya and there is Vritti. There is Chaitanya and there is Vritti. Vritti is Jada. Chaitanya is Chetana. In Jagat, everything is Jada. In that sense, Jiva is Jada, Jagat is also Jada. Why? Remove aside Chaitanya. Why? Because Chaitanya is just appearing there. Chaitanya is not really there. And Jada by itself never exists. So there is no difference between Jagat and Jiva. Why? Because in a sense, here it is exactly opposite. Rather than keeping Chaitanya, keep Jada. They both being Jada, they are not different from each other. Ishvara and Jagat Bheda. There is no difference between Ishvara and Jagat. Why? One is Nama Rupa, one is Adhisthana. Nama Rupa Maya Upadhi Janitatvat Kalpita. Jagat is nothing but Nama Rupa, names and forms which have been superimposed on Ishvara only. Just as waves, etc. are names and forms superimposed on water, or bangles, ring, etc. are name and form superimposed on gold. Same way, there is no difference between Ishvara and Jagat. And there is no difference between Jagat and Jagat. Just as whenever you are superimposing something on a rope, that superimposition can be different. It can be sarpa, snake. It can be a garland. It can be crack in earth. It can be stream of water. But all they are nothing but superimposed entities. Are they not? So if all of them are superimposed, how can there be any difference? Is there any difference between one mirage water and other mirage water? No. There is no difference between two superimposed entities. Why? Because they are not really there. So, Jagat Jagat Bheda, difference between two things in Jagat is not there. So, Jada Jada Bheda is not there. All these can be explained only by a person who has Vedanta Adhyayana background. The one who has studied in a Guru Parampara. That's why Shrotriyatva, being Shrotriya, is important. So that way Shishya's or Mumukshu's questions can be answered. Author furthermore explains why is it important, because in this way alone the samsara bhaya, the ultimate fear which is caused by dvaita, the idea of duality, can be removed. Only when dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati, only when there is idea of duality, differences, then alone there is fear. When that goes away, fear is not there. And when, so author in conclusion explains, when such a guru explains that there is oneness between Atma and Brahman, Shishya will also understand there is oneness in Atma and Brahman. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha, and he himself will get established in that, and he himself will become Brahmajnani, Brahmanishtha. Therefore, for this to happen, it is important that Guru should be Shrotriya Brahmanishtha and Shishya should be well qualified. Then what are the qualifications of Shishya? Nothing but Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, which we have already seen. So he should be an Adhikari, Uttama Adhikari, the best Shishya, best possible. Then author further progresses to Guru Bhaktehe Phalam. What is the result of having bhakti, having reverence, having devotion to Guru? And this is a very unique feature in any darshana, where rather than Ishvara, if you take any darshana or any sampradaya, even within India, a guru is given more importance than Ishvara. Guru गोबिद दो खड़े काके लागो पाए, बलिहारी गुरुदेव की जिन गोबिद दिया मिलाए. So Guru and Ishvara, they both approached me. Now there is a question in front of me. Whom should I approach first? Should I prostrate to Guru first or should I prostrate to Ishvara first? For which he himself gives answer, I am going to prostrate to Guru first, because of whom I was able to approach Ishvara. Anyways, let's keep this topic aside. Why is it so? Author gives a very beautiful answer and explanation. The devotion to Ishvara, will give you only adrushta phala. Adrushta phala as in swargadika loka prapti, etc. Nothing else, nothing much. But if you approach a guru, you will gain both drushta phala also, adrushta phala also, and not just that, you will gain moksha also. Here author is trying to emphasize on importance of a guru. Why? Because that's what Vedas have said. That's what Shastra has said. What is the importance? What is the phala, uniqueness of having a guru? Naisha tarkena matirapaneya nayamatma pravachanena labhyaha na medhaya bahudha shrutena. This knowledge, this Brahmajnana can never be gained by our own intellect, by our own efforts. It can be gained from a guru alone. Acharyad ha eva vidya vidita sadhishtham prapat. When this knowledge is gained from a guru, then alone it will be sthira, it will be well established. Otherwise, it will just go away. There will be doubts, there will be confusion, and the desired result will never can be gained, will not be gained. How do you say so? For that, author gives a very beautiful example. He says, take it this way. There are two gurus. One is Shrotriya and Brahmanishtha. Other one is just Shrotriya. What is the difference between learning from them both? He gives an example. Vedanta is like an ocean. Vedanta is like an ocean. Now, ocean water is salty, saline. You cannot drink that water. Even if you drink it, the problem is you will be more thirsty and you will not be satisfied by the water that has been drunk. But that same ocean water, when gets heated, gets turned into steam, goes above, forms cloud, and comes down in form of rain, and that water which has come down in form of rain, when that water is drunk, it satiates our thirst, and not just that, it also gives us joy. This is the difference between learning from a Shrotriya and Shrotriya Brahmanishtha. You will learn something or the other from person who is Shrotriya, but that is not really going to help you. That is not going to satisfy your thirst. That is not going to give you desired effect. In other words, you will not be happy, satisfied, contented. That contentment will not be gained. Just as by drinking saline water, the happiness was not achieved. On the contrary, the words of a Shrotriya Brahmanishtha Guru are like rain. They are without that salinity of ocean water. So then when same that Vedanta, same is heard from a Guru who is Shrotriya Brahmanishtha, it gives you peace of mind, joy, etc. This is the difference. Therefore, you should approach a Guru who is Shrotriya Brahmanishtha. Tasmat, therefore, Mumukshuhu धृतिघटादितुल्यम अज्ञपाठक गुरुम हित्वा मेघतुल्य ब्रह्मण्य गुरुमुखाद वेदार्थ श्रवणम कुर्यात् तद्विज्ञानार्थम स गुरुमेवाभिगच्छेत् समित्पाणिः श्रोत्रियं ब्रह्मनिष्ठम उपदेक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानम ज्ञानिनस्तत्वदर्शिनः इति. Author says, therefore, like drinking water directly from ocean is different from drinking rainwater which is without any salinity. That is the difference between learning from a Shrotriya Guru and Shrotriya Brahmanishtha Guru. Therefore, you definitely should approach a Guru who is a Shrotriya Brahmanishtha. Also, that's what has been said by Mundaka Shruti. Tad Vijnanartham, to know that Brahman, you should approach a Guru who is a Shrotriya Brahmanishtha. Then alone that knowledge is gained. Now, Purva Paksha is happy. He says, if that is the case, why are you composing this text? Why? Because you said you should approach a Guru who is Shrotriya Brahmanishtha. Now, what have you said? Upanishad is Pramana. Mahavakya is Pramana. That Mahavakya is in Sanskrit, in Veda. Vedas are apaurushaya, and because they are apaurushaya, they are Pramana. But your composition is Paurushaya, your own creation. Furthermore, it is not Veda. Now, because this original composition is in Hindi, here it should be taken in both ways. Because also in Hindi original also, author has taken both. Let any composition which is Paurushaya, a person's own creation, which is maybe in Sanskrit or maybe in other language, they will not qualify for giving Brahmajnana. Why? Because they are Paurushaya, your own creation. For which answer is given? It's not so. Any knowledge is knowledge alone. What author very beautifully answers, he says, the one who knows Brahman becomes Brahman, and his words are nothing but Vedavani, words of Veda. May those words be in Sanskrit or in any other language, it doesn't matter. In short, let that Shrotriya Brahmanistha Guru tell you that thou are वह ब्रह्म तुम हो, तत्वमसि, ते तू आहेस, anything. Let the language be any one, effect will be the same. Why? Because oneness has been explained. Let the language be anyone, any language, oneness should have been taught. When oneness is taught, the effect will be the same. साचवाक संस्कृत रूपा वास्तु भाषा प्रबंधादि रूपा वास्तु सर्वथा तस्य वचनम भेद भ्रमम निवर्तयति निश्शेषम ननु वेदांत विज्ञान सुनिश्चितार्था इत्यादि. वेदवाक्यादेव ब्रह्मज्ञानं जायेत न तु प्रमाणभूतैः अपि प्रबंधान्तरैः इति चेत् न तथा अदर्शनात्. What he says is, his Vani, his words are Vedavakya. Therefore, they will have same desired effect, whether those words are in Sanskrit exactly like Upanishad words or many different words, it doesn't matter, unless and until they are explaining oneness between Jiva and Brahman. They should be explaining oneness between Jiva and Brahma. Furthermore, if you say, by listening to Tattvamasi Shvetaketo, by listening to Tattvamasi, these words alone, Brahmajnana will take place, desired effect will take place. If you say so, it's not so, Tatha Adarshanath. Because that's now how it is seen in the world. How do you say so? Let's take an example. A person who is a Vaidya, who is a doctor, Ayurveda. Now, Ayurveda is in Sanskrit, but a person who knows what is a roga, what is the disease, how it should be identified, what is the remedy, how medicine should be prepared, and when he explains that in any other language, the effect is going to be same. It's not that only when he explains in Sanskrit alone that medicine will be powerful. It's not so. In any language, it can be explained and the effect is going to be same. Therefore, it is fallacious to say that by listening to Tattvamasi, these words alone, Brahmajnana will be gained. It is nothing magic. There is no magic in that word. It's not like they are some kind of a mantra or something. They are just, it is just a Vakya which is explaining oneness, and any Vakya, any sentence uttered by a Shrotriya Brahmanistha Guru will have the effect. So oneness, therefore, again we will be coming to that topic later. What is a Mahavakya? A Mahavakya is that which explains the oneness between Jiva and Brahman. May that sentence be in any language. Further, authors explains how to approach a guru, etc. This topic has been referred to earlier and very much simple. He says a guru should be approached Samitpani Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. Once you approach a guru, you should do service to him. That is Karma Yoga, etc. How we refer to Guru Seva. Why? Because that's the only thing which you can give. Because nothing else can be given to a guru. Because you have nothing else to be given that is your own. Here author has said Sharirarpanam, Manorpanam, Vagarpanam, Dhanarpanam, etc. Sharirarpanam, do seva. Manorpanam, bhakti. Vagarpanam, always tannishta doshanam anucharanam eva agarpanam. Do not quarrel. Never object. That is Vagarpana. And Dhanarpana. When you are approaching a guru, if you have taken sannyasa, leaving all your belongings behind is Dhanarpana. Or if you are a grihastha and that guru is also a grihastha, then helping him, dana, is Dhanarpana. Then after having approached guru, what should Shishya do? It is simple. He says he should approach, stay with him. Now this is for a brahmachari and sannyasi, not a grihasthashrami. Nishreyasarthina mukshuna purvokta prakarena sharirādīn sadgurave samarpya tadvasata vanyatra va guroho samīpe vasata tridhataratma paroksha sakshatkara paryantam bhikshashina cha bhavyam. So he should do bhikshatana, etc. He should ask for bhiksha, then that bhiksha should be given to guru, and after having given that bhiksha to guru alone, he should take whatever is given to him. He should do guru seva, etc. and learn from him. By going through this alone, your mind gets purified and you gain qualification for that Brahmajnana. Gurave yo manovacho kayarthadi samarpyatam sevate bhavati brahma prasadatishayat guroho. The one who devotes himself to a guru by his body, mind, intellect, etc., he alone becomes qualified Shishya for Brahmajnana and eventually gains that Brahmajnana. In short, Ananya Prokte Gatiratra Nasti. Only when a qualified guru approaches Shishya, after having approached the one who does seva, service to that guru, and when guru is happy and he has understood that now the Shishya is eligible for gaining jnana, guru is going to ask, what do you want? And at that moment, at that time, Brahmajnana alone should be sought. Nothing of this world should be asked for. and then Guru definitely will give you Upadesha, and that Upadesha will have effect, and the Shishya will become Brahmajnani. In this way, author concludes the third chapter. In fourth chapter, who is an Uttam Adhikari is going to be explained, and how Upadesha is given, that is going to be explained, but that we will see next time. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.